Hi, today we're going to be taking a look at this ASUS RT-AC86U wireless router. I purchased this off eBay for spares or repair. I'll just bring the listing up so you can have a look. And I paid £16.51 for it plus postage. It says that the fault is only LAN 4 light is on when it's powered up, and they took it to the local repair guy, but he couldn't diagnose the problem. Right, so let's see if we can do any better than the local repair guy. So I think the first thing what we'll do is we'll power it up. I'll just undo this little power supply. Let's just double check that this is the right power supply for it, because you never know. Let's just see what voltage it says on there. 19 volts, 1.75 amp. Right, let's just see what it says on the back of the unit. And it looks like somebody's been into here before by the way of the label. So yeah, the power supply looks like the right one. Although it does look like it's had a prior repair. Right, I'll just zoom back out a fraction. Right, I'll just plug this in. I'll just grab the test meter and we'll check that we're actually getting voltage out of the power supply, because it could be the power supply that's the fault, not the actual unit. Right, so let's see. And we've got 19.36. Right, okay. Right, let's plug this in and see what it does then. And we'll switch it on. And I'm not getting anything at all. Oh yes. Yes, we get a very... I don't know if you can see that. I'll just switch this light off a second so you can just see it. Well, yeah, number 4 light is just barely lit, very dull. Right, I'll put the light back on, watch your eyes. Right, so how does this come apart? I think I'll remove these antennas first. Well, I can see a screw there. There's a Phillips screw there. Is there any other screws? Yes, and then that Phillips screw there. Right, I'll start by removing those. I'll just grab a screwdriver. Right, 2 screws out. Right, let's find my little pry tool. Looks like it's clipped around the outside. There we go. Nice. A little bit dusty. Alright then. Let's zoom down a bit. Well, I can't see anything obvious at the moment. Now, how does this board come out? Right, I'm going to take this plate off first, I think. Let's grab a smaller screwdriver. Right, so that's those 4 screws removed. And it looks like we've got some thermal pads round about here. Right, does this want to come out now? Looks like those chips here have been getting a bit warm. And those look like they could be the radio transmitters. Right, so this board doesn't want to come out. I'll try removing these 4 screws around the outside. Right, see if this board wants to come out now then. and it's free. Right, I'll just get this bit out of the way. What have we got on this side of the board then? One big heatsink. And it looks like we might have a serial UART there. Yes. Looks like we've got VCC, TX and RX data, and ground. And that possibly might be a JTAG header. Let's see if we can see anything obvious. Looks like we've got a couple of little power supplies down here. And another one there. And a 0 ohm resistor. Looks like it's being used as a fuse. Looks like there's one of those small little fuses here, those resettable ones. Now I remember having an issue with one of those on a Milwaukee vacuum cleaner where it was actually measuring okay. Well, it was measuring about 12 ohms I think it was, but when current went through it, it was actually failing. It wasn't allowing, it was allowing voltage to go through but not enough current. So that could be a suspect as well. I can't see anything else obvious, but then again there's going to be a lot of stuff underneath this large heatsink here, so we may have to remove that as well. I think what I'll do first, I'll plug the power in and we'll check that we're getting power through to these inductors and that and stuff. So I might bring the scope in on this one and we'll see if any of those inductors are switching. So, alright. I shall go plug it in and set the scope up. One moment please. Right, so I've got the scope set up. So, this is marked VCC. Let's see if we get any power on that. And yes, we do. So we've just got just over 3 volts there. Let's see if we get anything on the RX or the TX lines. Well, I'm not getting anything on those. Oh. I'll try switching it off and then back on again. Just in case it spits some data out when it's first booting up or something. Well, nothing on that. Let's just try this one again. I'll just switch it off and then back on. Nope. Right, let's just try some of these inductors, see if we get anything. Right, well that one put power on, so let's see if we get a waveform on that side, and we do. So that little power supply seems to be working. I'll just zoom down a fraction. Let's just try this inductor. I'll just adjust this slightly. So that looks like the switching side. And that's the output side. So that one must be about 5 volts. Because we're on 2 volts of division there. And we're measuring about 2.5 squares from the centre line. So that's 2, 4 and a half of a 1. So 5. Have we got any other inductors on here? Yeah, there's a little one there. Let's just see. Tell you what, see, do we get anything on the side of this fuse? Yes. So that might be a 1.8. Let's go back down to 1 volt. Yeah, so that must be a 1.8 volt. Let's just see if it comes from here. Yes. And that'll be the switching side of it, if I can get the probe on. Doesn't want to play it. I just want to play on that one. But we seem to have 1.8 volts there. So we've got a 5 volt, a 3.3 and a 1.8. I wonder what the power supply coming in is like. Let's just have a look at that. I'll have to adjust the voltage there. Well, that looks fairly stable as well. Can't see any huge ripples or anything, just in case it was a fault with the power supply. Right, let's just flip the board over. I'll just try and untangle these leads a second. And it looks like we've got another couple of little power supplies on this side, so let's try this one. Right, we've got voltage there. And we've got a big inductor here. Which doesn't appear to be doing anything. Tell you what, I'll just adjust this. Let's just try that again. Right, we don't appear to be having anything on that little power supply here. So I'll just zoom down a little bit. Let's just try on here. That's a ground, I guess. What's this side? Right, so we've got voltage here. So I guess that's the supply into this chip. Just notice there's a slight mark there. Let's try and zoom down a fraction more. Might have to bring the microscope in on this one. Well, I think there's a tiny little, possibly an explosion mark or something just on this IC here. Right, I'll go and set the microscope up, we'll get it under the microscope and we'll have a look, see if we can figure out if this chip's blown and see if we can read the number off it. Right, I'll just go and set the microscope up then. Right, I've got the microscope set up. So, where's that chip? I think that's it there. I'll just see if I can focus it in a bit better. Yeah. And that's definitely got a crack in it there. And just here. That looks like it's failed internally, that IC. I don't know if we can make the number out on it. I think it's upside down. 2 seconds, I'll just flip this around. And see if I can find it again. I'll just try adjusting the focus. Right, so it's an MT3125. Right, I'll go and look up the data sheet for an MT3125 then. So I managed to find a data sheet for the MT3125 and it seems to be made by a company called M3 Tech and it's described as a 5 volt 6 amp 1.25 megahertz fast PWM synchronous step down converter. And there's a typical application diagram for it. And there's the pinout for it. I've managed to find one on AliExpress. So while I'm waiting for that one to arrive, let's take this one off. So I'm just going to add a bit of flux. Alright, we'll get the hot air on it. Well, that took a fair bit of getting off. Right, I'm just going to add a little bit flux again, and I'm just going to use some solder wick to clean up these pads. Right, I'm just going to give that a bit of a clean up with some IPA now and a little cotton bud. Right, I'm just going to add a little bit of flux again. I'm just going to apply some leaded solder to these pins. Doesn't seem to want to tin this one very good. Let's try and remove some of that from the middle. And for some reason that pin, let's try cleaning this up again with a bit of IPA. No, I think it's because that pin is connected to the ground plane by the look of it. So it must have been sucking all the heat from the iron. Let's try my other tip. Let's put a bit of flux on again. I mean, you can see how small these ICs are by the end. I mean, this is like a syringe and this is like a needle on the end of it. Right, let's see if I can just get some of that off the centre. I mean, it shouldn't make a lot of difference because it should just squash out in any way. So I could do with a little bit on this end one here. Let's see if I can add a little bit of solder just to this end pin. Right, I'm happy with that. So now we're just going to wait for the new part to arrive. Just to give you some idea of the size of this IC, this is the IC here, and this is on my little fingernail. So, just so you've got some idea. I've got some of these PCB rulers off Amazon. Let's see. Is this millimeters? And as you can see there, it's about 3 millimeters by 3 millimeters. I just thought, you know, because everything looks so large when you're seeing it on a screen or whatever, so, you know, so you can actually see the actual size of this. So I just thought you might find it interesting, that's all. Well, the new parts have arrived. And I've got 5 of them from AliExpress. So I'll get one out and we'll try fitting it. I think I'm going to preheat the board first. I'm just going to add a little bit of flux to the bottom of this chip. I'm just trying to see where the dot is, because it needs to go that way around. Just try and get it roughly in position. I think that's about it. Right, let's try heating it up. Right, well I just saw it move, so I'm just going to give that a second. And I'm just going to press down on it. I'm not too sure about this pin here. Right, I'll just let that cool down a bit. Right, I'm just going to put a bit more flux around the edge here, and then we'll see if we can clean some of this excess solder off with the iron. Right, I think that might be it. I'm just going to give this a little bit of a clean up, and then we'll have another look. I still think that needs to go that way slightly. I'm going to heat this up again and just give it a little nudge, I think. I'm not quite happy with that. I think I put a bit too much pressure on that one and it just flipped off. Yeah, I'm just going to add a bit more flux around this. Probably a bit too much, but well, I think that might have it. Actually might be too far down now. I'm just going to try turning the airflow down a little bit on this because it's burning my fingers. It's going to be well cooked, this chip. Well, I'm not sure if that's got it or not. I think it's one of the reasons why I bought 5 chips, so let's just give it a bit of a clean up and we'll give it a try, I think. I mean, the heatsink on the other side is quite warm. Well, I think we'll give it a try and we'll see what it does. Alright, let's give it a try. I mean, in reality that took about 18 minutes. Well, that looks bright. Oh, and it's gone off. Over the light on here now, which doesn't look quite right though. Looks actually half burned out. That LED. Power 2. Let's just zoom down a bit on that. Yeah, if we look at that light compared to the rest of them, I mean, it could just be that LED's had too much use, but that's looked a bit strange, let's say. Let's just see what it does. If anything, see if any of the lights come on, maybe. I think it might be working, you know. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the scope and I just want to see what's going on in this inductor. I'll tell you what, we'll use the test meter first and we'll just check what voltage we get, just in case anybody else is troubleshooting one of these. So I'll just zoom out a bit so we can get the meter in shot. I'm just going to volts DC. And if I want to ground, we've got 1 volt on that side of the inductor, nothing on that side. 3.3, so this must be a 1 volt supply then. but it looks like it's working. I'll just hook the scope up a sec and we'll just see what waveform we get on that inductor. Right, I've got the scope hooked up. So if I just go on to this pin here, we can see it switching on the scope, and if I change the time base here, so we can actually zoom right in on the waveform, you can actually see it switching on and off there. And it's doing a frequency of about 1.2 megahertz. So that's what that should look like. Right, I'm going to get it back in its case. We'll connect the antenna up and then we'll see if it actually works. There's a little switch at the back here. Just need to get that in line. Or was it the reset one? Yeah, the reset one, there we go. Right, so I want these 4 bigger screws in first. And then that was this heatsink to go on. Now the front panel. Right, so we'll go and get the laptop and we'll see if we can connect to it. One moment please. Right, well I've got the laptop plugged in. I haven't got this connected to my network at the moment, but it is picking it up on the computer screen here. I'll just pull that up so you can have a look, and it says DaVinci, ASUS guest, and DaVinci ASUS. So the Wi-Fi side of it's working, but because those have got a password on, I think we're going to have to do a factory reset on this. So I'll just look up how to do a factory reset, and then hopefully we'll be able to log into it and test that it works properly. So according to the website, you've got to hold the reset button down for 5 to 10 seconds. So we'll try that. And it says the light will start flashing, which it is. And press and hold for 5-10 seconds until your power LED starts to flash. Right, well we've done that. Right, let's see if that's done anything then. ASUS 48 5G. I guess that must be it. Right, well, it says connected. I'm not sure what the IP address is. Is it 1.1? Yes. So there we go. Create a new network. Right, so we'll get a LAN cable then, and we'll plug it in. Back with a LAN cable. Special requirement from your ISP? No. I don't know what to call it. That'll do. Fields can't be blank. Right, so we'll just use that for now. Next. So is there there's no more next button? Have we got to switch it on and off or something? Oh no, I can see it there now. Right, we seem to be connected. And it all seems to be working. Anyway, let's just see if we've got internet. Yes. Excellent. Right then, I think we'll call this one a fix then. Well, if you enjoyed this video, please give it the thumbs up. If you want to see more like it, please subscribe. Any comments or questions, please leave it in the comment section below. And as always, have a great day. Thanks for watching.